You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Right now at 9 o'clock, taking a live look outside. You wouldn't know what we're looking at there. It is a foggy morning to start the day. Here is a different shot, a little bit more below the fog this morning in the clouds. Tuesday, November 25th. Lots to get to this morning as we continue to follow stories in our community and all across the Bay Area. Thanks for being with us. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's a look at some of our news headlines right now. Ukraine has just agreed to President Trump's proposed peace deal to end the war with Russia. It's not a done deal yet, but a U.S. official told CBS News some details still need to be worked out. Trump's 28-point plan calls for Ukraine to give up territory, cap the size of its military, and swear off NATO membership. No word yet from Russia. A man convicted of murdering an elderly Asian woman in San Francisco could learn his fate any minute now. Keontae Gathron was found guilty of beating an 88-year-old Asian woman in 2019. Police say Gathron was behind a crime spree that mostly targeted Asian Americans. He is in court right now for his sentencing. If he is convicted, he could face life in prison. The 49ers have a firm foot in the playoff picture. They beat Carolina Panthers last night at Levi's 20-9. Red and gold are now 8-4 this season. All right, let's get a check on that first alert forecast. As we saw earlier, lots of fog out there this morning. Here is a view from our camera on Black Mountain that's above the fog line there. You can barely see the city below. Here is a look on the roadways. This was from earlier this morning in Pleasant Hill. Our assignment manager Brian shot this video on his way to work today. Meteorologist Jessica Birch tracking the forecast for our Thanksgiving holiday.
Well, it's the Thanksgiving holiday week, and many of us are taking to the roads or taking to the skies right around the corner to get to our destinations. And I want to start off with local Bay Area conditions because it's a dry week for us here in the Bay Area with daytime highs a little bit below average, actually. Our Tuesday forecast showing upper 50s throughout most of the East Bay. All the way up into the North Bay we go. Similar conditions. It's a very chilly setup for us for this afternoon with daytime highs either sitting in the 50s or 60s widespread throughout the Bay. Now, national airport delays. For the most part, things are pretty calm throughout the West Coast, but we have been tracking storms widespread throughout the plains, up into the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley. So there have been some weather delays in places like Chicago, for example, this morning. We're going to continue to track those storms as they move off into the Northeast later tonight, potentially causing some weather delays there too. But let's head back to the Bay Area because, like I said earlier, it's a dry week for us here in the Bay. Dry conditions as we head into the next 7 days. So let's head over to the 7-day forecast, actually, just to paint the picture a little bit better. We're holding on tight to 60s and upper 50s each day this week throughout most of the Bay. Partly cloudy skies in store for us too. But the good news is, unlike the last couple weeks where we were either battling atmospheric rivers or cold fronts bringing in stormy weather for us, that's not the case at all as we head into our Thanksgiving forecast by Thursday. And better yet, this weekend, as many of us are trying to head back home or send our family members back home too. Heading into early next week, we'll see sunnier skies right around the corner for us as early as Monday. Still not a warm trend just yet, but we are going to keep a close eye on that for when temperatures start to warm up just a bit more. Back to you.
We are learning more about what appears to be a burglary that turned deadly in San Francisco. Police say they found the suspect, 45-year-old Cassidy Wyatt Allen, just a few blocks from the scene in Ingleside. It's after officers showed up to the home on Granada Avenue Sunday afternoon and found somebody who had seriously been hurt. That person later died. Allen is under arrest and facing charges now for murder and burglary. The crowded race for California governor just got a little smaller. Real estate developer Stephen Cloobeck ended his campaign and threw his support behind Eric Swalwell. The longtime Democratic donor called Swalwell the right person for the job. Swalwell launched his campaign last week during an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Cloobeck is the first candidate to drop out of the governor's race to endorse someone else. More now on that peace proposal between Russia and Ukraine. While Ukraine has agreed to it, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says more work does need to be done. Natalie Brand has the latest from the White House.
A U.S. official tells CBS News Ukraine has agreed to a peace proposal with details to be worked out. Ukraine's national security advisor on social media said, "Our delegations have reached a common understanding regarding the key terms of the agreement discussed in Geneva." And he suggested the next steps could be a visit by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to the United States to finalize the agreement.
Anything that involves ceding territory needs to be approved by the Ukrainian parliament. We know how they're going to vote. They're going to vote against it. So very, very difficult times for Mr. Zelensky to navigate right now because he's on political thin ice as it is.
It comes as sources tell CBS News that U.S. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll is in Abu Dhabi meeting with Russian officials to discuss the revised version of the White House's 28-point peace proposal following weekend negotiations with Ukraine.
The goal was to take, is 28 points or 26 points, depending on which version as it continued to evolve, and try to narrow the ones that were open items.
One U.S. military official in Abu Dhabi says the Army Secretary is optimistic and said negotiations are moving quickly. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt posted this morning that there are a few delicate but not insurmountable details that must be sorted out. Last night, she expressed an urgency to get the deal done.
The president wants to see this deal come together as quickly as possible, and he trusts that his team is doing everything they can to get it over the finish line.
Overnight, the death toll in Ukraine continued to rise. A barrage of missile and drone strikes on Kyiv killed at least 6 people and wounded dozens more.
Now, Leavitt says more negotiations will be needed to overcome the remaining hurdles, which suggests we may not see an agreement before Thanksgiving, as President Trump had hoped. Today is expected to be the busiest day of travel for the Thanksgiving holiday. For air travel, the TSA expects more than 17 million people to pass through airport screenings over the next week. That would make it the busiest Thanksgiving travel period in 15 years. There will be more people driving to their destinations as well. AAA says almost 82 million people will be out on the roads, more than 9.5 million in California alone.
Today is going to be the busiest travel day. So if you really want to beat the traffic, try and leave the home before 10 a.m. If you're leaving between that noon to 8 p.m. hours, that's when it's going to be the worst. And honestly, if you have to go at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it might just be better to wait until 8 o'clock.
AAA also urging drivers to make sure your car is ready for the road. Check those batteries, oil levels, tire pressure, and windshield wipers. And if you need to fill up your tank, the average price for a gallon of regular in San Francisco is around $4.58. In Oakland, it is $4.48 and $4.39 in San Jose. Well, the 49ers stepped on the gas to power past the Panthers, but Brock Purdy is hoping to tame all those turnovers. Matt Lively has the recap from Levi Stadium.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
It's the week of Thanksgiving, so if I had to describe this Niners victory with the holiday spirit in mind, I'd say they absolutely burnt the turkey, but thankfully the gravy was good enough to choke it down. Regardless, this team is excited.
Dub Nation. That's how I'm feeling.
Brock Purdy had a fire in his kitchen during the first half of this game. 3 interceptions on 3 consecutive drives as he ended this one with a 58.5 QB rating.
When you turn the ball over really 3 drives in a row, it's like, all right, you just feel it. You feel a little bit of pressure and stuff, but I mean, this is why we're put in this position. I can handle this. As a quarterback, you can't lose confidence in yourself.
While most of the country is getting ready to take PTO, Christian McCaffrey has never heard of that term. He had 31 touches, he found the end zone, and for the 10th time this season, had more than 100 yards from scrimmage.
I think he's always successful when he gets his touches. I don't think that's been any different probably since he was playing Pop Warner football, you know.
I would love 30 touches a game. Whenever the ball's in his hands or going his way, success happens. So why not keep throwing to him, hand him off the balls, So, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really tough. I think it's actually really fun for him, and he probably wants that.
San Francisco can be thankful that they are 8-4 despite all the injuries. Next up, a feast on Thursday, followed by a game on Sunday in Cleveland.
And you can watch that game against the Browns on KPIX and streaming on Paramount Plus. Kickoff is at 10 a.m. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, after the Dungeness crab season delay put their business in peril, some local fishermen are pivoting.
You have a lot more motivation to get things done, you know what I mean? Because it's all on you, all on yourself.
To stay afloat. Plus, an eye-opening look at how local families are surviving on food benefits.
It's harder and harder. And inflation's going sky high.
We shop along with one woman in the Bay Area who shows us her dollars aren't stretching like they used to.
Well, whether you're hitting the roads or taking to the skies at our local Bay Area airports, it's dry out there as we head into the next couple days, which is great news for us for that Thanksgiving holiday travel. So no issues on the roads when it comes to slick surfaces, just cool temperatures each day as we head into this week with cloudy skies. But at least there's not going to be any weather delays for us locally here at our Bay Area airports. That's not necessarily the case throughout the rest of the country. Now, as we take a look at the daytime highs throughout the Bay and throughout our inland spots, it's a pretty mild week ahead of us, and that's how we kick off next week too.
It will still be a few more weeks until we learn if the Dungeness crab season is going to get the green light. Years of shortened seasons may have led many commercial fishermen in the Bay Area to leave the industry. But that's not stopping some younger fishermen in the Bay Area. Kenny Choi shows us what they are doing to try to stay afloat during this latest delay.
Just one fishing boat is docked at Pier 45 in San Francisco, with its crew unloading their catch. It'll be another late night for Jonathan Tin and best friend Hunter Nguyen. They haven't slept much lately, with most of their days and nights at sea.
We just love it. There's nothing else like it, you know, going out there.
They're hauling in hundreds of pounds of rock crab, which can be fished year-round in shallow waters without endangering wildlife like humpbacks and brown leatherback turtles. Rock crab has less meat and isn't nearly as profitable compared to Dungeness.
This is a red rock crab and this is a yellow rock crab.
Tin says he can sell to wholesalers and off the boat for roughly half the price of Dungeness. Fishermen say their livelihoods are severely impacted by shortened seasons. Environmentalists say regulations over the years are making a difference. Ben Grundy is with the Center for Biological Diversity.
And we know that when there is gear in the water, whether it's one line or hundreds of lines, that there's a risk of an entanglement happening. So as long as there are still high numbers and large concentrations of marine animals off our coast, delaying the opening is definitely the smart thing to do.
So until the season opens, fishing for rock crab is Tin's best option.
We've been on the boat probably like 5 or 6 nights a week, go home once a week.
Other veteran fishermen say costs and lack of demand for rock crab are too prohibitive to make it sustainable for most crews in the fleet. We met Tin and Nguyen working as deckhands 2 years ago. They've hauled in countless crab pots for a decade.
We were able to save up some money and we bought this boat, and now we're working hard and trying to make a living for ourselves on this thing.
This is the chance they've been waiting for.
You have a lot more motivation to get things done, you know what I mean? Because it's all on you, all on yourself.
Crab is 4 1/4 inch.
Tin says it takes extra work finding wholesalers, grocery markets, and consumers willing to pay for these alternative crabs.
The majority of the meat in these things are in the claws. They have big, mean old claws.
As soon as the Dungeness delay is lifted by state wildlife officials, they'll gear up for the more profitable product. But for now, they're all in.
The commercial Dungeness crab season delay applies to all fishing zones in the state. A number of factors are driving the delay, most notably the high number of large whales, particularly humpbacks, getting entangled in crab gear. The next risk assessment is scheduled around mid-December. This season might open around the new year in some zones, though no firm date is guaranteed. New calls for an investigation after disturbing allegations at the San Francisco County Jail. 19 women say they were strip searched in front of male deputies who had their body cameras rolling. An attorney representing the women filed a claim with the city. The lawsuit alleges that they were pulled into the center of their housing unit and strip searched one by one. Several women say both male and female deputies laughed and recorded them. Their attorneys argue this violated multiple policies, including requirements that strip searches of female inmates be done in private without male deputies present and with body cameras turned off. Advocates and city leaders rallied yesterday to support the women.
This is gender-based violence. Every elected official in San Francisco should denounce this immediately.
We can fight for them, we can amplify their voices, and we can let it known to the people who did this or allowed this to happen that it ends here.
The San Francisco City Attorney's Office says the city is reviewing the claims. Advocates are calling for the deputies involved to be suspended. The spokesperson for the sheriff's office responded to the allegations, saying personnel actions were taken. They wrote in a statement, quote, "The conduct described is deeply concerning and does not reflect the policies, procedures, or professional standards that we require of our staff." More campus security could be coming to Laney College in Oakland after the murder of legendary coach John Beam. The Peralta Community College District has reportedly approved $220,000 in emergency funds for security improvements at the Laney College campus. That's according to the Bay Area News Group. The Board of Trustees approved funding to allow the school to move forward with new or improved security fencing, lighting, and cameras. Earlier this month, Coach Beam was shot and killed at the school's field house. A suspect has been charged in his murder and is due back in court next month. Well, about 42 million people rely on SNAP benefits to put food on the table in the United States. And with grocery prices on the rise, many are having to stretch that money more than usual. Arlen Ramirez spent the day with a woman in San Jose who says every grocery trip is a calculation and every dollar and quarter counts.
I do need some top ramen.
On a weekday afternoon, Kelly Goodman rolls into the grocery store on her motorized cart, her friend Anna walking beside her. Both women were once homeless, and today they share something else, the daily work of stretching food benefits to survive.
Okay, here's the lunch meat for the, which is the sale price on it. They have one on sale rate, which is right here. $4.29, how much is this one? This one's $4.33, that's okay. That's actually a good price. Yeah. Okay.
Kelly gets $60 a month in federal food assistance, $60 to last 30 days.
No juices on sale. No, none on sale.
It's all about comparing prices, checking tags, calculating as they go.
I have margarine.
Their first big splurge, a rotisserie chicken.
We plan a meal, one meal a week that is meat-based.
Then 2 small tubes of hamburger on sale.
Okay, these are only $5.94. Get 2 of these. Oh no, those are $4.97.
The two move slowly down the aisles, passing things they want but can't afford.
They used to be like $12 because of the price. I haven't had tri-tip in years. Yeah.
They keep moving. Frozen broccoli, canned vegetables, and then...
Oh, it's twin pack for $3.64. Yeah. 2 dinners for $3.64.
Even with careful planning and most of the way through the store, the cart stays mostly empty. The math relentless.
Could be close.
At self-checkout, the total tells a remarkable story. Just 25 cents over.
60-25. I wish good girl. 60-25? 60-25.
It is a moment of victory, carved from necessity, a routine these two know by heart.
We got it down pretty good.
A short time later, in Kelly's small kitchen at her supportive housing apartment, Anna cooks tonight's meal.
So it's me behind the camera, and this is Anna cooking me. Oh, hamburger helper stroganoff and some broccoli with cheese.
It's what they call a normal, everyday meal. Normal because it has to be.
But it's harder and harder. And inflation's going sky high, and can't stretch out a meal like you used to.
She says the political fight over benefits like hers feels distant until it lands on people with the least.
Taking away their source of nutrition and food, I don't understand that thought process. From the most poor.
Under a gray November sky, Kelly and Anna head back to the car, 2 friends who've weathered years of hardship together, still counting dollars, still stretching meals, and still hoping people deciding their futures are paying attention.
And we invite you to join us in helping your community. You can scan the QR code there on your screen to find out how you can volunteer or donate at our local food banks. You can also head to our website, kpix.com/give. And you can join us for our holiday special that is airing on Christmas night at 7 o'clock. You can see the inspiring stories behind the effort to feed families across the Bay Area and the impact of your donation to keep food on the table for our neighbors. Well, food banks aren't the only place to help out your friends and neighbors this holiday season. Today, you can make a donation at an ice skating rink in Walnut Creek. The ice rink is holding a one-day drive. For each ticket sold for its skate sessions, Walnut Creek Downtown will make a donation to our Food for Bay Area Families campaign. So the rink is at Civic Park on Civic Drive. It is going to be open until 7:30 tonight. Still ahead, a struggling food hall in San Francisco is losing yet another restaurant.
When we first started, there was a lot of passion, excitement, but the area definitely impacts how business, works.
Why they have decided to call it quits.
Reality is, throughout most of the country right now, we're dealing with stormy weather, making it a little bit tricky out there for some of those airports. Chicago right now with a 30-minute weather delay. Throughout the West Coast, weather is relatively calm, but we've been tracking major storms sweeping throughout the plains, all the way up into the Tennessee and Ohio Valley, eventually into the Northeast later tonight. And we're going to continue to monitor that closely as we head into the next 7 days, too, because reality is we could get to our Thanksgiving destinations, but we got to get back to. And the Bay Area weather is cooperating with us for all of our local airports and for the roads, too. No slick surfaces out there as we head into the next 7 days. No rain in sight for us. It's a dry week for us, which is great news for that Thanksgiving travel. Now, you still want to take it slow out there on the roads, of course, and be very careful because traffic's going to be a little hectic, I'm sure. But at least at our local Bay Area airports, there's not going to be any weather delays. Just partly cloudy skies each day with 60s in store for us, even in our inland spots. Back to you.
Well, we have covered a lot of businesses that have closed in San Francisco over the last few months. Pharmacies like Walgreens, grocery stores like Lucky's in the Bayview that closed just earlier this month. And of course, there are issues on Union Square. The area has struggled to rebound from the pandemic, and several big-name stores have shut their doors. Some have opened, like this Nintendo store, but things are slowly starting to change for the better. Yeah, Pop Mart also moving in this year. Zara says it's going to open a new flagship store next year. And Uniqlo plans to reopen in a new location after closing its store 4 years ago. But not far away, there is a food hall where things are still a struggle. The latest casualty is a vegan Puerto Rican restaurant closing up shop at the end of the year. It joins several other restaurants that have given up on that location. Amanda Harry talked to the team about the decision and what's next.
So these are our pastelillos. We cook the meat in-house.
For years, the Now family has been building Casa Borinqueña, bringing the community authentic Puerto Rican food, all 100% vegan.
This business was my mom's dream.
Emerald Now says growing up, her mom would always talk about opening a restaurant. She felt most at home in the kitchen. In 2018, it finally became a reality when they started doing pop-ups in Oakland.
Any place that was willing to take us, we would work many different hours cooking in ghost kitchen.
Someone from IKEA tasted their food and pitched the idea of opening a location at Solyu Hall Food Hall. It sounded great, but in reality, it's been a challenge.
There's been a lot of ups and downs, honestly. When we first started, there was a lot of passion, excitement, but the area definitely impacts how business, works.
Now says many people don't realize there's a second floor and that the crime, drug use, and people experiencing homelessness right outside the location deters customers.
You're seeing all this kind of stuff, and then it's like, am I going to park down there and my car is going to get broken into?
Now says her family struggled to make the decision, but issues with management made it the best option.
The food hall is now about to be under a new partnership or ownership, and it's just been kind of hard to reach a mutual understanding. I believe that the rent also has gone up.
Curb Food was overseeing Solyu Hall since opening in 2024, but now it's being operated by Inca Centers, the parent company of IKEA. Now says their last day will be January 1st, but for now, they're going to keep cooking.
So this is our chicken protein that we turn into skewers, or we chop up and we put into our pastelillos or top our food off.
They're also thinking about what's next. Casa Born Kenya also has a location in Philadelphia, but they don't want to lose their presence in the Bay Area.
We're trying to get into the East Bay because we're located out there and it would just make it a bit easier. So we've been playing with the idea of possibly opening in Oakland, maybe Emeryville. The dream is to be in Alameda, of course, you know.
Well, we reached out to the company managing the food hall, but have not heard back yet. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, Gap is making a comeback. The CEO explains the strategy that's helped them recover from a rough stretch. And let's take a live look outside right now at 9:30. This is from our camera on Treasure Island. We're going to have another check on our top stories and your first alert forecast when we come back.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us this Tuesday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here is another look at some of our news headlines at this hour. We are learning more about what appears to be a burglary that turned deadly in San Francisco. Police say they found the suspect, 45-year-old Cassidy Wyatt Allen, just a few blocks from the scene in the Ingleside. It's after officers showed up to a home on Granada Avenue Sunday and found somebody seriously hurt. That person later died. Allen is now under arrest and facing charges for murder and burglary. Recovery teams plan to resume the search for a man swept away by dangerous surf in Monterey County over the weekend. 35-year-old Manpreet Thaib is a U.S. Army specialist from New Jersey. He disappeared Saturday at Garapata State Park, about 8 miles south of Carmel. That comes just a week after a father and daughter drowned in the same area. And Ukraine has just agreed to President Trump's proposed peace deal to end the war with Russia. Not a done deal yet, though. A U.S. official told CBS News some details still need to be worked out. It is a 28-point plan calling for Ukraine to give up territory, cap the size of its military, and swear off NATO membership. No word yet from Russia. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast. Moving ever closer to the Thanksgiving holiday, meteorologist Jessica Birch is tracking what we can expect.
Well, it's the Thanksgiving holiday week, and many of us are taking to the roads or taking to the skies right around the corner to get to our destinations. And I want to start off with local Bay Area conditions because it's a dry week for us here in the Bay Area with daytime highs a little bit below average, actually. Our Tuesday forecast showing upper 50s throughout most of the East Bay. All the way up into the North Bay we go. Similar conditions. It's a very chilly setup for us for this afternoon with daytime highs either sitting in the 50s or 60s widespread throughout the Bay. Now, national airport delays. For the most part, things are pretty calm throughout the West Coast, but we have been tracking storms widespread throughout the plains, up into the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley. So there have been some weather delays in places like Chicago, for example, this morning. We're going to continue to track those storms as they move off into the Northeast later tonight, potentially causing some weather delays there too. But let's head back to the Bay Area because, like I said earlier, it's a dry week for us here in the Bay. Dry conditions as we head into the next 7 days. So let's head over to the 7-day forecast, actually, just to paint the picture a little bit better. We're holding on tight to 60s and upper 50s each day this week throughout most of the Bay. Partly cloudy skies in store for us too. But the good news is, unlike the last couple weeks where we were either battling atmospheric rivers or cold fronts bringing in stormy weather for us, that's not the case at all as we head into our Thanksgiving forecast by Thursday. And better yet, this weekend, as many of us are trying to head back home or send our family members back home too. Heading into early next week, we'll see sunnier skies right around the corner for us as early as Monday. Still not a warm trend just yet, but we are going to keep a close eye on that for when temperatures start to warm up just a bit more. Back to you.
Well, here is just one sign that Gap is making a bit of a comeback. The store on Chestnut Street in San Francisco debuted a fresh new look earlier this month. But that's just one piece of the building block. Reporter Jolene Kent sat down with Gap's new CEO to talk about what is behind the resurgence.
This Thanksgiving week, some retailers are bracing for a different kind of holiday shopping season. Consumer sentiment, the way people feel about their jobs, finances, and the economy dropped to near historic lows this month.
You have to be interesting to create interest.
But Richard Dixon, the CEO of Gap Inc., the parent company of Gap, Banana Republic, Old Navy, and Athleta, says he feels good about the road ahead.
Economic uncertainty right now. Do you think the consumer might pull back this holiday season on spending?
We're not seeing any differentiated behaviors with our consumer, and I think that's a real testament to the work that we've been doing.
That work happens here at Gap Inc. headquarters in San Francisco, and it's paying off. Same-store sales for Old Navy, Gap, and Banana Republic surged more than expected over the last 3 months, according to its latest earnings report, while Athleta continues to struggle. One of Dixon's strategies, offering fewer, more selective discounts.
We have leaner inventories, smarter merchandising, better prices, less discounting, and generating more for the bottom line.
And unleashing ads like this. This cat's eye video went viral.
Did you know when y'all were producing that was going to be a hit?
Of course we felt it, but I will tell you, in any creative process, you're not quite sure how consumers are going to react.
And react they did.
So you did see a sales bump from that?
Absolutely.
Staying relevant while managing the challenges that have come from President Trump's tariff policies.
How much is the cost of tariffs and these trade disputes costing the shopper?
Look, tariffs are a headwind, but we've also been very transparent to absorb that cost without too much impact on the consumer, essentially driving a lot of manufacturing production out of high tariff places like China.
To propel the legacy brand into 2025, Gap is also putting Google's AI to work to make the 56-year-old company more efficient.
Do you have any plans to replace workers with AI technology?
We take a lot of pride and a lot of conviction in being a human-centered business that's digitally enabled.
Can you commit no AI store clerks?
I can commit that you will have AI experiences that are seamless. Our stores are always going to be people talking to people.
Betting that human connection will register with shoppers this holiday season and beyond.
The marina location is open from 10 in the morning till 8 p.m. most days. 2 turkeys received the traditional presidential pardon today at the White House. This is Gobble and his friend Waddle. They're going to be spared from the dinner table on Thursday. They were both raised at a farm in North Carolina, and we're told that the turkey stayed at a luxury hotel before heading to the White House. The tradition of turkey pardoning dates back to 1947. Well, every day, countless families across the Bay Area face tough choices just to get by. And that is why every holiday season, CBS News Bay Area joins forces with local food banks to help ensure that nobody goes hungry. Veronica Macias is in Santa Rosa at the Redwood Empire Food Bank.
From the south to the north, we're here at the Redwood Empire Food Bank today, and we're seeing some of the volunteers who have showed up very early, rolling up their sleeves, doing what they can to help the community here, a growing need. Christine, you're here 5 days a week. Why do you do this, and what are you hoping to fulfill when you come in?
I'm hoping to feed our community. There's such a need. Since the pandemic, we've seen the numbers go up, then they've come down, they've gone back up again with the economy and inflation. I'm just trying to help wherever I can.
And it does make a difference. We've heard from the leaders here at the food bank. Speaking of those leaders, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Rochelle Michaud, who could tell us about the demand that you've recently been seeing a spike in numbers.
Yeah, we have seen over the past month, we've had over 1,800 new families reach out for support. And even our food lines last week alone on Thursday, we saw 50% more people than our average per day. And so it just continues to increase, and you kind of wonder when is it going to end? And it's just a reality of the world today, and food prices are high. Support from the government has dropped. People are needing help and needing to feed their families, and we're here to help them.
Now, you also said the reality of things. The reality of things is that a lot of these people aren't going to be able to get those CalFresh benefits back, requirements changing. Yeah. The need is big, but does it make up the difference? So what does this mean for you long term?
We're just trying to plan ahead and plan for the worst. I mean, we can't just rely on what we're doing today. We have to look ahead and try to figure out how we're going to sustain this long-term need, because this is not something that is going away anytime soon. And the pandemic has proven that. We thought that was going to be our highest peak, and it has continued to grow since then.
Which is why it's so important for you to help and contribute. For every dollar you donate, they stretch it into 3.
So if you would like to contribute, we invite you to join us in helping our community as part of our Food for Bay Area Families initiative. You can scan the QR code there on your screen to find out how you can donate or volunteer at our local food banks, or you can head to our website, kpix.com/give. And you can join us for our holiday special that is airing Christmas night. You can see the inspiring stories behind the effort to feed families across the Bay Area. Well, coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, you could call it a Christmas miracle in Berkeley. Well, this group made the city backtrack to save a popular holiday street fair from shutting down.
Well, whether you're hitting the roads or taking to the skies at our local Bay Area airports, it's dry out there as we head into the next couple days, which is great news for us for that Thanksgiving holiday travel. So no issues on the roads when it comes to slick surfaces, just cool temperatures each day as we head into this week with cloudy skies. But at least there's not going to be any weather delays for us locally here at our Bay Area airports. That's not necessarily the case throughout the rest of the country. Now, as we take a look at the daytime highs throughout the Bay and throughout our inland spots, it's a pretty mild week ahead of us, and that's how we kick off next week too.
As the Bay Area gears up for the holiday shopping rush, one tradition in Berkeley almost came to an end. The annual Telegraph Holiday Street Fair was almost canceled for violating the city fire code. But as John Ramos reports, the holiday staple is going to go on.
Here on Telegraph Avenue, the city of Berkeley was ascribing to the old notion that you can never be too safe. But after some public outcry, it looks like cooler heads have prevailed. The Telegraph Avenue Holiday Street Fair was gearing up for its 42nd year, offering homemade gifts and live music when they got the bad news. The city said the event would have to move because of a state fire code that requires 26 feet of clear roadway on streets with buildings over 30 feet high. That's to allow ladder trucks to utilize their stabilizing outriggers in case of a fire. Berkeley resident Charles Siegel co-authored an op-ed piece appealing to the city's common sense.
That doesn't really work in Berkeley, because in Berkeley, the typical street has only 22 feet of clear roadway. And it's just not realistic. It's not going to happen. We'd have to remove parking on one side of the street of almost all the 2-lane streets in downtown and South Campus, and all the residential streets that have apartment buildings.
Siegel discovered that the 26-foot rule was optional and that the code wasn't being enforced the rest of the year, just during the Telegraph Street Fair and for the Juneteenth parade on Adeline Street. Siegel was upset that the enforcement seemed selective and arbitrary.
City staff said, we're applying the law and we are moving the street festival away from Telegraph Avenue, and the Telegraph Avenue Street Fair will be on this block of Adeline Street, where there are no buildings over 30 feet tall.
But the Telegraph Avenue businesses think the Telegraph Avenue Holiday Fair needs to happen on Telegraph Avenue. Doris Moskowitz owns Moe's Books, and she also wrote a letter of complaint to the city.
I understand that it's important to be safe, but I also think it's important to be happy and to have a little bit of hope and to feel good this time of year. And the people are looking to Berkeley as a place where people have a sort of sense of actually what's reasonable.
Perhaps Doris's letter did the trick, or maybe it was all the other people who complained, but the city relented and approved the permit for the street fair to happen on Telegraph as usual. Louis Cuneo is one of the street vendors selling artistic photographs and has been participating in the holiday fair since the 1980s. He says people feel the street fair is important to give the city life.
It was too much of an outcry against it. The city has to be a little open to possibilities.
I think in Berkeley we need to make room for everybody, you know, and if the vendors who've been coming here for over 40 years want to come here, we need to make that possible.
So the 42nd annual Telegraph Holiday Fair will continue, and Siegel says the city is crafting a new fire code that may include an exemption for street fairs citywide.
All right, well, now I want to go check this out. The Holiday Street Fair is going to take place over 3 weekends beginning on December 6th. The city is expected to take up the matter of the updated fire code at its meeting on December 3rd. Well, this is a crazy story. A kitty found in San Francisco is now back home with her family in Idaho. Earlier this month, Pepper was spotted wandering in Mission Bay. She was taken to animal care and control, where a staff found a microchip tracing back to her family in Boise. How she got here? Well, nobody knows right now. But distance did not matter to her owners. After getting the call, Pepper's parents drove all night to reclaim her.
She let out this huge, like, meow, like, oh my God, it's you guys, Daddy, you came and got me. It was so great. And then she talked to us like all the way home, all about her adventures. I wish we could understand, but it was great.
Oh, that's so cute. Pepper's mom, Lindsay, said that the cat was emaciated when they found her, but with some extra love and care and treats, Pepper has since gained 1.5 pounds. Welcome home, Pepper. Coming up, a new wave of rodeo culture is taking over parts of the Bay Area. We're saddling up to take a look at the movement.
I think that we feel we have something to prove, and we want to prove it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, here in the Bay Area, tech isn't the only thing that's booming. Rodeo culture is kicking up some dust of its own thanks to Western shows like Yellowstone. Our Itai Hod saddled up to see what and who is behind it.
Just east of San Francisco, there's a stretch of California where cowboys have ruled for generations. Here, the day begins like it always has. Same boots, same spurs, same sky full of dust. Except today, this isn't your typical cowboy. In fact, this isn't a boy at all.
Something kind of badass about being a cowgirl.
There is, yeah, I could admit that. It's pretty awesome.
Jillian Murray is a fifth-generation rancher and professional breakaway roper. A rodeo event that's all about speed and snap, where the clock stops the moment the rope breaks free.
It was 2.3.
With her mom at the stopwatch and her dad at the gate, she practices until precision feels like an instinct, chasing those fractions of a second that separate the good from the great. Her personal best, 1.8 seconds, fast enough to make her the #2 breakaway rookie woman athlete on the California rodeo circuit.
You'd be shocked, a lot of girls can rope better than the guys.
As part of a new wave of cowgirls, Murray isn't just breaking horses, she's breaking barriers.
I think that we feel we have something to prove, and we want to prove it.
Everyone's forgotten who runs this valley.
With the success of shows from Yellowstone to Landman, rodeos are riding high.
What's it like when there's a women rodeo event?
Well, the bathroom lines are a lot longer.
Allison Caney, the first female CEO of the Cow Palace, one of California's biggest rodeo venues, says ticket sales rose 61% this year. And women's rodeo is now roping in fans fast.
You see more money being put into women's events. You see more advocacy for women's events.
And get into your swing?
And while watching it may be fun, doing it is harder than it looks. Because out here, cowgirls aren't just following the trail, they're taking the reins.
So Jillian is now setting her sights on the California Circuit Finals. That takes place next month. Well, how much would you pay to get your hands on a rare comic book? A copy of Superman found in San Francisco just sold for a record price. It's the Superman #1 comic, and it just fetched more than $9 million at auction in Texas. 3 brothers found the copy in a cardboard box while clearing their late mother's attic last year. It was only protected by a stack of old newspapers.
It's one of the most desirable comic books that you could own. It's in the very highest grade. It's the original printing. It has a great story behind it. It's not something that had been in the hobby, sold previously, that anyone knew about. So I think it was just a lot of people got excited because it's just every factor in collecting that you could possibly want all rolled into one.
Detective Comics released the issue back in 1939, and it set a record for the most expensive comic book ever sold. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.